let's talk my reading goals, how did I do, and stats. Hi, my name is Jeanette, and I want to thank you for joining me on the channel Jane Reads. So today I'm going to go through the goals that I set at the beginning of 2023, and now that 2023 is done, I'm going to review them and see how did I do. Then I'm also going to talk about kind of my overall stats for the year. So let's just start with my reading goals. So there's my goals from my journal. You can't really see that very well. Okay, so the first one is to read 98 books. So at the beginning of 2023, I did not read audiobooks at all. So my goal was 98 books. I finished all 98 books, physical reads. Then March, I think it was, I started reading audio, so I did a tracker for this one. And I put 24 books on here because I had no idea what I was going to do. And I didn't even color in the last one. I finished 20 audiobooks. And I finished 110 physical Kindle reads, like read with my eyes. And so overall, I read 130 books. So yes, I had an amazing year. Then my next goal was to read the 24 books on my TBR bingo board. Well, there's my bingo board. As you can see, I'm missing one. I was not doing well at this for the first 6-7 months of the year, not at all. Then I really pushed kind of in the fall, and near the last week of December, I had 2 spots left on my board to complete. The book that is not finished is a book 3 of a series. The other book that I did have to finish was book 1 of a series. So obviously, I went with book 1. Yeah, so I did not get to book 3. So this one is still on my list to be read. Then my next goal was to reread 24 books. And again, I had a bingo board for that. And this bingo board was created with a random generator. So I just listed all the books that I wanted to reread. Now, a lot of my books that I have, like physical books at the beginning of 2023, I've had on my shelves for quite a while. And they were not recorded on Goodreads as ever being read. So that means I started Goodreads back in 2011. So that meant I had read them before 2011. So I had all these physical books on my shelves that I marked down as to be reread because I wanted to know, did I keep them for a reason or is it time to part with them? So I have quite a few books listed as to reread. So out of these 24, I did fairly well. There is 4 that I did not get to reading. And they're all, no, this one is book 2 of a series. That's the standalone, that's a standalone. And this one is book 1 of the series of this one, of book 3 that I didn't finish. So I really, yeah. If I had read this book, I could have read this book. But, oh well. I did fairly well, I think. Okay, then I have to go back to my goal page. My next goal was to read every single day, and I try to read at least half an hour before bed every single day. That's kind of my goal, what I try to do. And then I do read during the day when I have chance, in the evenings, things like that. But I for sure read half an hour before bed every night. And there is my read every day tracker. You'll see there's 2 empty spots here. December 26th and 27th. I was doing so well. And then I got sick. And I was so sick with the flu that I couldn't even keep my eyes open. The first day I moved to the couch and tried to watch something, and I was out. The next day I didn't even get out of bed. So yeah, I could not read those 2 days. But I mean, I read all 362 other days. 3 other days. So pretty good. Then my next goal was to participate in Chantel's Read Your Bookshelf Challenge. Oh, here it is. And I successfully completed that. I've talked about all these books, so I'm not going to go over what I read for each book. Then my next one was to participate in Oshina's Christian Romance Reading Challenge. And again, I completed that and read. Then, then to read 12 advanced reader copies and limit to 1 per month. So I ended up reading 10 advanced reader copies throughout the year. And there is 1 month, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah. There is 1 month where I actually read 2. I only recorded 1 here. So I've only got 9 on here, but I did read 10 throughout the year. So I still kept it under 12. Like I kept it to 12 and under. So that is a success for me. Then it was to play 1 round of Katie's TBR game. So I played 1 round of this every time I set my TBR. And I did do that every single year, or every single month. And the nice thing about it was, when I did December's TBR, I landed on the plane. So I fully completed this board twice throughout the year. Like that worked out perfectly. Then the next goal was aim to complete at least 18 letters in the Alphabet Challenge, so 75%. So when I started this, I was only writing down books that I had given 4 or 5 stars to. And then December, I went through and kind of filled in the missing letter with a 3-star book because I didn't have a 4 or a 5-star. And then the other letters, I just didn't read anything with that. Started with that letter. I probably, if I could, I don't know. So I've got it a lot. I definitely completed over 75%. So that's a success. Because the letters I am missing are Q, V, X, and Z. So I'm only missing 4 letters. So that means I completed 22 letters. So that's more than 75%. And the fact that I completed 22 letters and 21 of those letters are all 4 and 5-star reads for me. That's amazing. And then my last goal was to stick to my book spending budget as per my reading reward system. So what I did is I would earn 1 cent per page read. So if I read a 300-page book, I earned $3 to purchase books. Then I would earn an extra $2 for every line I finished on my bingo board. And I am proud to say that I stuck to that budget. We'll talk about how many books I actually brought in last year when I get to my stats. But yes, I succeeded on that even without completing my bingo boards. Okay, now let's talk stats. Okay, so as I said, I read 130 books, which equals 41,495 pages. So that makes an average book length of 319 pages. Not bad, I think. I read an average of 10.8 books a month, which is pretty good. I did not expect that. And then for star ratings, I gave 24 books 5 stars, 60 books 4 stars, 40 books 3 stars, and 6 books 2 stars. And I DNF'd 1 book. My average rating was 3.8, which totally makes sense for me because I really average between 3 and a 4. So that totally makes sense for me. Okay, now, because I had a lot of rereads, and I was really focusing on some rereads. So this is a stat. As soon as I wrote it down, and then I looked at last year's, I was like, wow, I couldn't plan that if I tried. So for my first time read through, so I read 82 books that were brand new to me. I never read them. And I reread 48 books. So that works down to 37% for rereads and 63% for first time reads. In 2022, my stats were 63% for first time reads and 37% for rereads. Like, exactly the same. And yet, I read 130 books this year compared to 109 last year. Like, I don't know how did I get that percentage exactly the same. Like, that blew me away when I saw that. Okay, so out of those 130 books, 51 of them were on my Kindle. 59 of them I read physically, and 20 of them I read through audio. So that is 39% for Kindle, 46% for physical, and 15% for audio. So my Kindle is, well, audio is the lowest, then Kindle, then physical. Last year I did not read audio or listen to audio. So last year it was 38% physical and 62% Kindle. Whereas now my physical, my Kindle switched, which kind of not surprising because my physical has grown compared to what it was. I buy less Kindle books now than I do physical books. Okay, what is my most read genres? What are my top read genres? This is not a shocker to me at all. The top genre is not a shocker to me at all. The next genre is a shocker to me, and I was surprised at the next two. Okay, so my top genre is romantic suspense. I read 42 romantic suspense, which is 32%. Then I read 26 contemporary romance, which is 20%. And then I read 25 historical, which is 19%. I really thought it would be romantic suspense, historical, contemporary. I was shocked how close contemporary and historical were, and that historical was actually the third, not second. Now, there is 4 dual timeline stories, not worked into either one of that percentage, but still, like, yeah. So then I read 11 books that were legal fiction, 11 books that just follow in the plain mystery suspense, like there's no romance in them, 4 books in the dual timeline, 4 books in women's fiction, 2 biographies, 2 classics, 2 just general fiction, and 1 Amish fiction. Now, last year, my highest genre was contemporary romance, then romantic suspense, and then historical romance. And I mean, I read an 8-book contemporary romance series last year, so that didn't shock me that it was the highest at that point. And I was aiming to read more romantic suspense this year because that's really my genre that I love. So I'm so glad that it's the top genre. So yeah, so here's a little graph that will show kind of that breakdown. Okay, so out of those genres, my top read authors, or my most read authors. So at number 1 is D. Henderson with 11 books. Now, 1 of those books was a physical read and 10 of those were audio reads. I found an audio narrator that I absolutely loved. And he narrates majority of D. Henderson's books. So I was just kind of going through. Then my next most read author is Robert Whitlow with 8 books. And this is really a split between audio and physical read, or like physical Kindle reads. I think I read or listened to 4 books written by Robert Whitlow and 4 books physically or Kindle. Then my next read author is Irene Hannon with 7 books, which is working my way through the Hope Harbor series, plus a romantic suspense book. Then I have Karen Whitmire with 6 books, which is historical. And then tied with 5 books is Lynette Eason and Terry Blackstock. And 4 of those Terry Blackstock books were audio. All 5 of Lynette's were Kindle physical. So yeah, that kind of shocked me in a little bit. I mean, I knew Dee Henderson was going to be number 1 because of the amount of audio I listened to. And I knew Robert Whitlow was going to be number 2 because, again, the amount of audio I listened to. But, I mean, those are all my favorite authors, so I'm not shocked that those are the names on the list. Okay, now, I love to read series. I love binging series, if possible. That is kind of my thing. I'm going to work my way through a series as quickly as possible is my goal. So out of the 130 books I read, 86 of the books were part of a series. So that is 66% of my reads were series books. That was not a shock at all because I do not read a ton of standalones. So out of those 86 books, I read from 39 different series. That's a lot of series. Out of those 39 series, 12 of them I'm not interested in continuing. I read book 1 and said, no, this series isn't for me. I am up to date or I completed. So depending whether, for example, like Nat Eason just had a new series come out. I read book 1 in December, but book number 2 isn't being released till August. So I'm up to date on that. There's nothing else for me to read. And then I just completed a series. Again, it's finished. There's no more books. I've read them all. So that is 20 books. Or 20 series that I have completed out of the 39. That is pretty good. That's 50%. And then I have 7 series that I'm carrying over into 2024 that I started in 2023 or earlier and need to complete. 7, that's pretty good, I think. And I can think of a few of them, like what they are. Some of them, again, they're series I can't finish because the next book is not released. So I mean, I guess, wait. No, that series would count in the completed up to date because the book's not even released yet. So 7 would be ones that I have books or the books are available. I just haven't read them. So the ones I'm thinking of are Hope Harbor by Irene Hannon, the original 6 hockey series by Carolyn Miller. There's 2 Christy Barrett series that I've read, books 1 and 2, and need to continue. Those are the ones off the top of my head. I know there's more. I mean, obviously there's 7 of them, but those are the ones off the top of my head for sure. Oh, wait, no. There's Misty River and Sky King Ranch. So Misty River is by Becky Wade. Sky King Ranch is by Susan May Warren. Okay, so that is 4. Yeah, there's still something else I'm missing. Doesn't matter. So how many books did I acquire in 2023? And how many of them are sitting unread and waiting for me to read? So in 2022, I acquired 100 books exactly. Pretty good. At the end of 2022, I had 70 out of those 100 that were unread. And in 2023, I read 34 of those 70. So 46? 36? I read 34. Yeah, 36 are still sitting unread. Oops. But in 2023, I acquired 114 books, and 75 of those are unread as of the end of December. However, I did read 23 of those 114 books that I acquired in 2023. So 23 books I read in the year that I got them. And I read 34 books from the year prior to. Not bad. I mean, it could be better, but not bad. But I had the same spending reward system in 2022 that I did in 2023. And I acquired more books in 2023 than I did in 2022. And yet, I spent less money. I found some deals this last year. Yeah. So that's pretty good. I'm going to try to do the same thing this coming year in 2024. But I did not set it as one of my goals because now it's been a goal 2 years in a row. Can I just continue that trend? I don't know. I will know January 2025 me will know. What did I do in 2024? And what's going to be my top genre? We'll have to keep reading to find out. So though that is how I did in 2023. Do you have any questions? Just leave them in the comments below. Do you like to go over your stats and like to look back at your reading and kind of see what, kind of how your reading went in figures? I love that. I'm very interested in that. So I'd love to know your stats. Like, how many books did you read? What's your top genre? Do you read more physically or on your Kindle or audio? I want to know everything about you. Just tell me. So I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I would love to chat in the comments. And I would love it if you would like and subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for future videos. Thank you. Bye.